YouTube, welcome back guys, it's your boy Rumspanker, and a few of you have asked me what are my settings for Battlefield 1. You've said, Rumspanker, what are your settings for Battlefield 1? Well, what I'm about to do in this video is I'm going to give you my personal, all of my settings for Battlefield 1, even the mouse that I'm using and the mouse settings that I'm using. I'm going to give you everything I'm using in Battlefield 1. Hopefully it will help you guys with your gameplay to get even better on Battlefield 1. Now before we get into this video, I just want to let you know that this is for the PC version. A lot of these settings can be used interchangeably for the console as well, because I was playing it on the console. However, I started using the Zim 4 on the console, so I'm not going to really get into the console specific settings because that's a little different. But right here I'm going to get into the PC settings, and a lot of those you will be able to use. If you follow along with your console, you will be able to use them with your console as well and see how they work for you, because they work really well for me. Before we get into that video, I just want to let you know we're on the road to 2K. We're on the road to 2K subscribers. For everybody who's here, if you're new, if you never subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the live streams, gameplay, epic videos, and awesome content I bring to you guys every week. So let's get into the video over our settings for Battlefield 1. Now, the first and one of the most important things when it comes to aiming, when it comes to settings, when it comes to shooting in a first-person shooter on the PC is the mouse that you're using. And the mouse that I'm using, I want to let you know it's the Logitech G502 gaming mouse. It is one of the best gaming mice that I think I've ever used. In first-person shooters, and I played on the PC for many years, but for many reasons it's the most accurate. The precision is there. It feels great in the hands. It's a really great mouse. I'm not sponsored by Logitech. This is not a commercial for Logitech, but I highly recommend you guys pick it up. At least go to Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description. Check out the reviews for this thing. This thing is a beast of a mouse. There's many settings we can go through, but I'm just gonna let you know the pointer settings for this mouse that I'm using. My DPI sensitivity level, I leave it set assigned to 4,250. You can go all the way up to 12,000. You can go anywhere in between, but for Battlefield 1 it just feels so smooth, it feels so accurate, it feels so snappy at 4,250 for the DPI setting. As far as the polling rate, I leave that at 1,000. So that's the settings for the mouse. Keep in mind also I'm using the Logitech Gaming hard mouse pad. Now in my settings I do not have the hard mouse pad set on my settings. I do have it set to the default surface tuning. So I don't know if that really made much of a difference, but that's the way I use it, just to let you know. Hard mouse pad, but it's set on the factory default setting. Now, if you haven't seen my video where I showed you guys how to build a gaming PC, it's funny because I put all this money into a beautiful glass case, beautiful RGB color gaming PC. Great PC so far. Just an awesome build. But I really skimped out on the keyboard because I don't really care about the keyboard. The keyboard is just for entering, you know, my movements. So I don't really care about it. But I'm using the Logitech K120. It's like a $15 keyboard that's US currency. It's very cheap, but it gets the job done, and that's all we really need. Now on to the Battlefield 1 settings. First thing we're going to go over in settings is controls, and that's under options. So we go to controls. What I have my soldier mouse sensitivity on is 10%, vehicle mouse sensitivity 25%, raw mouse input I leave that on. Vibration is off, obviously, because you're using a mouse and keyboard. Invert vertical look, this is personal preference. I personally prefer it to be off. Invert vertical flight, I personally prefer it to be off. Soldier stick sensitivity, that's really not going to matter for us here on PC, but those of you on console, I had it at 20%. Vehicle stick sensitivity 43%. Soldier zoom sensitivity, I had it at 145%, which basically it basically changes your aiming sensitivity when you're in the aim down sights variant of your weapon. Soldier sprint, I leave that on hold because basically I don't want to keep clicking back and forth when I want to stop running and stop sprinting. Double tap forward to sprint, I leave that off. Horse sprint, I leave that on click. Soldier, and that's actually that was new with the new update there. Soldier weapon zoom, that's you could basically choose if you want to zoom in or out by hold or click. I leave that on hold. Vehicle weapon zoom, I leave that on hold. Steady scope, I leave that on hold. We're not going to go through gamepad because like I said, I'm using this on a PC, controllers. It's just not really going to work for this right here. I'm just using the keyboard and mouse. Now, under advanced, these are some of the important features here. Stick aiming, acceleration, 100%. Gamepad, we're going to go past gamepad. Going to go past joystick. Soldier, zoom sensitivity, one-time zoom, which Battlefield 1 actually allows you a lot of different options when it gets in a percentage of your zoom, depending on the 1 times, the 3 times, the 6 times amount of zoom that you're using. But for muscle memory, I highly recommend, and I've mentioned this in other videos, muscle memory is key in first-person shooters. You cannot imagine how important it is for you to start to learn the distance that you need to move your mouse, the distance that you need to move your thumbsticks on your controller in order to keep up with enemies, in order to accurately track enemies, in order to accurately get those sights on the enemies. So for muscle memory, I keep everything at 100%. So it's always the same amount of speed that I'm always ready to move, always ready to aim with, instead of having to change it for 6 times zoom or 5 times zoom or 4 times zoom. I keep them, and I highly recommend this, I keep them at 100%. Vehicle sensitivity, plane control sensitivity, I keep everything at 100% again. Vehicle driver control, vehicle aim, relative control. Basically what it does is, you don't even, just leave it on. Decouple, I leave that off. Vehicle passenger control on. Uniform soldier aiming. This is one of the most important settings you can put on Battlefield 1. One of the most important settings, please. If you do anything, leave uniform soldier aiming on. What does it do? To just put it in a nutshell, I could read you the whole thing on the side there, but basically it helps you with muscle memory. It really helps. It keeps everything the same. Coefficient 100%. Now we're going to go out to gameplay. We have a few important ones here as well. On basic, show heads up display, I leave that on show because I want to be able to see what's going on. Player created content, I leave that on show. Chat log when active, you can hide that, it doesn't really matter. Inventory, you can hide that, it doesn't really matter. Crosshair visibility, I leave that at 100%. The reason why is because there's a lot of times, there's a lot of things going on, explosions, gunfire, vehicles, you're running around. You want to be able to see your crosshairs at all time because you need to get those crosshairs on the enemy. Crosshair color, I changed my crosshair color to a little off yellowish type color. And the reason why I highly recommend that is because you're never, for the most part, going to see this color in Battlefield 1 during your gameplay. So I need a color that'll stand out against any background, which will help me to, again, quickly acquire my crosshairs. So I have that on that off color. The default, I believe it's white as default or a grayed out color. It can get washed out against certain backgrounds, and I don't need that. You don't need that. Kill log, I leave that to show, and that's very important because during the kill log, I want to be able to see when I've killed an enemy, or if a teammate is killed near me. I like to see what's going on in that kill log to the top right. Kill log filter, I leave that to nearby, so I don't need to see everything that's going on during the match. I don't need to see all the kills that my teammates are getting or all the kills that the enemy is getting, just the ones that are nearby me, which really helps me with getting an awareness of my surroundings and what's going on. Awards, you can leave them to show or hide, that's personal preference. Vehicle seat info, show or hide, that's personal preference. I choose to show it because at least I'll know what seat I want to switch to if I need to quickly change seats to quickly either get out of the vehicle or get to a different gun inside of a vehicle. Critical messages, I leave that to show. Share usage data, I said no because, hey, I like to keep things private. You know what I mean? It's none of your business, man. So then hit indicator, this is another one that's very important. Hit indicator visibility, I leave that at 100%. That's for your hit markers, basically just your hit markers. Hit indicator is hit markers. Hit color. So what I do here, right? Hit color, I left it at 255, 255, 255. That is the default color. Whenever I get just a normal hit marker, that's the color I see. Now my headshot color, I changed it just like up above where I changed my crosshair color. My headshot color, I changed it. So I get more of a green color when I hit a headshot. That lets me know that I really damaged an enemy. That lets me know sometimes if I want to get extra aggressive, get in there for the kill, or if I want to back off. Once I see that headshot color, I know that this enemy, if they're still alive, They may take 1 or 2 shots maximum before I really put them down. And then kill color, I have that red, so there's no confusion. I know for a fact that I put down an enemy and I can move on to the next target, so then that hit marker will pop up red. Damage base shape, I put it yes, hey, I want to know if I'm actually doing some serious damage. I want to know. Minimap, the texture opacity, I put it at 60% because I kind of want to see through it a little bit, but not too much. Rotate with view, that's kind of important to me. I put yes so that I don't have to focus on, okay, which direction is the minimap facing? Is it the correct north, south? No. I just have it rotate with view. That way it'll save you a lot of headaches when you just want to quickly look down and see where the enemies are. Flight zoom radius 250, vehicle zoom radius 75, on foot zoom radius 50. Zoom level on spawn, preserve, minimap size, I leave it at 100%. Show stationary weapons, I put that to show all, so I know what type of guns I have around me, whether they're AA guns, whether they're stationary light machine guns, so I know what's around me. Now, as far as default icon opacity, this is another one that I think is very important. You'll start to notice when you're playing Battlefield 1 sometimes, if you're looking around a whole entire large size map, there's a lot of different objects, a lot of different icons that can clutter the area and kind of hide the enemy, because you're seeing a bunch of different things you don't really need to see at the time, because it's just different icons that are across the map that you don't really need to focus on. So what I did is I changed my objective icon opacity to 25% so we can still kind of see it, but it's not actually blinding us. It's not blocking enemies. Friendly soldier opacity, I really don't need to see the friendly soldiers too much. I leave that at 25%. Enemy soldier opacity 100%. I want to see them everywhere. You know what I mean? Leave that at 100%. That's very important. Gadget icon opacity 25%. Aim down sight. Now here's another thing that's very important. The aim down sight icon opacity, I leave everything other than the enemy soldiers at 0%. When I'm aiming down the sight, I want to focus only on the enemy that I'm aiming at. I want to focus on that enemy alone, so I don't need to see the objectives around me, and I highly recommend you guys change this yourselves. So objective, I have that at 0% because, hey, aim down sight, I don't need to see it. Friendly soldiers, 0%. Enemy, of course, like I said, 100%. Gadget icon opacity, 0%. Now we're going to move on to advanced. Camera shake scale. Camera shake scale. This is key too. A lot of times when there's an explosion, when there's behemoths that are blowing up, you're gonna get a lot of camera shake, a lot of explosions, and the strength of this can be diminished no less than 30%. But I believe the default is about 80, so you're getting a lot more shake than you really need. So I dropped it down to 30%. Soldier auto leaning. Basically, what that allows you to do is when you come up to a corner, you can auto lean out as soon as you pull in your sights. I leave that as yes. Soldier auto peek over. Again, if you're crouched and you walk up to an obstacle and you pull in your sights, it'll allow you to peek over. I leave that as yes. Parachute auto deploy. I leave that as yes as well. Context-based order giving, I leave that as yes. Plane chase, all yes. Aim assist slowdown, aim assist auto rotation, yes. Reload hint, I leave it as show, even though I really don't need it, but I leave it as show. Hint system, I hide that because we don't need a tutorial. We're a beast at Battlefield 1. Remember that. You are a beast at Battlefield 1. You don't need the hint system. Get that out of here. Put hide. Network performance graph, hide that. Aim lead indicator, I have that to show. What aim lead indicator basically does is if you're playing on a server and your ping is kind of high and you may need to start leading your targets a little bit in order to get those shots to line up. So I leave that on show so I kind of can look up there and see, okay, well, if I'm sniping, I may have to lead these targets. Low ping network smoothing, I put that at no. So now as far as video, this is important. We're going to get into video right here. I play on full screen. I play on a 1920 by 1080, that's 1080p, 144 hertz monitor. I highly recommend, guys, highly recommend it if you can get access to a 144 hertz monitor. I'm telling you, no matter what anybody says, they're going to say that your eyes can only see 60 frames, whatever. It makes the game so much smoother being able to play at higher refresh rates. Okay, so a refresh rate of 60, I immediately notice a difference. I switch it on to 144 and the game gets silky butter smooth. Brightness, I leave it at 40%. Vertical sync is off because I need that 144 hertz. My field of view, I leave it at 69, but you can change it to actually get a better, more fisheye view. But I like it at 69. I think that fits well for me. My vehicle third-person field of view is 60. Aim down sight field of view. It basically keeps the field of view when you aim down the sights as well. I leave that to on. And then again, in some of my weapons-related tips videos where I'm telling you about different weapons, some weapons it works better with ADS off. Some weapons it works better with ADS on. So you're going to have to figure that out for yourself and how you operate with certain weapons. Motion blur, leave that at 0. We don't need any distraction, any visual distractions while we're playing a game. Weapon DOF. Basically, it just says, do you want your weapon to be kind of faded out when you zoom into the sights? I leave that at no. Colorblind is off, even though I am technically colorblind. Advanced DirectX 12. This is our actual video settings. I'm using the GTX 1070. DirectX 12, I leave that off. Resolution scale 100%. UI scale factor 50%. Frame rate limiter 200. Now, as far as the quality settings, GPU memory restriction off. And I leave everything ultra, anti-aliasing, TAA, and HBAO. And as far as key bindings, there's one important thing I want to go over with key bindings for you guys. Let's go to Soldier right here, okay? Now, we're going to go down to jump. One thing I changed, normally if you're playing on the keyboard or if you're playing it with the mouse, you want to be able to change your jump and your crouch button. Now what I did was I put my left control to jump, and then I have my space bar to crouch. So basically what that allows me to do is to be able to quickly push crouch or jump, crouch and jump, to basically be able to dodge bullets. It basically gives me the ability to do kind of like the crouch slide, get around corners faster. I think that's really huge and might really help you guys with your Battlefield 1 gameplay. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Those are my Battlefield 1 settings. Those are my Battlefield 1 settings. If you guys want my Zim settings or my Zim information, I can go over that too as well. Remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. If you want more videos to help you guys improve your gameplay on Battlefield 1, I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's your boy Rumspanker, and I'm out of here.